Ooh, what's inside the box? I can hear you going, open the box, open the box. Well, this isn't some sort of game show, you know. Although, if you think about it, life is a bit like a game, and if you play the right cards, you'll succeed and win. Anyway, I'm going to be showing you the very thing that's trapped inside this box that's holding you back in life. So stick around, because you ain't going to want to miss that. Anyway, let's crack on with the video, shall we? So, no matter what you do in life, you always keep getting stuck. You're stagnating all the time, and you're thinking, why? Why can't I progress? Why can't anything what I want to do stick to a goal or a task? Why can't I do it? Why do I always keep reverting back to old patterns? Well, have you ever thought that the reason why you're stagnating is because you're addicted to the familiar? Sorry if you can hear a squeaking, it's my chair. I'm not strangling a goose with my foot, do you know what I mean? It's driving me mad, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I do apologise if it comes on the video. But what is addicted to the familiar? Well, addicted to the familiar is like a psychological or emotional response that we're always, you know, clinging to the same things because it provides comfort. It could be a job what's no longer serving you, but because it's a steady wage, it feels safe, although, you know, no job is safe, but it feels safe. It's a 9 to 5. You're used to it. You can get it done all the time because it's the familiar. Or you might be stuck in a relationship what's no longer serving you, but because it feels familiar, you stick with it and grind it out. You know, there's been stories of people on their deathbed, and you know, what their last words, and they're just saying, no, I've always hated that person. I've never loved them for years, but I've stuck with them because it's all I knew. The familiar. And why do we stick with it? Even if it's toxic, even if it's negative, because it's familiar. That's all we know. And if that's all we know, we're going to keep on doing it because it feels safe and it feels comfortable. You know, if you are in a toxic job or you are in a toxic relationship, it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of, you know, having to find and apply for a new job or starting again. We tend to have a natural bias as well to stick to routines and habits and stuff that don't serve us as well because it's all we bloody know. Did you know as well that repeated behaviour and patterns and habits, they reinforce neural pathways in the brain, and over time these get stronger and stronger and harder to break. You know, and over time, the brain actually favours going towards them pathways, towards them familiar habits, even though it's probably detrimental to you and not serving you in the slightest bit. You ever noticed before as well, people can be creating sort of familiar patterns of sabotage. Do you know what I mean? They might be going well in focusing on a goal or exercising or working towards working for the self or dieting. You know, it's going well for a bit, but then before you know it, they'll go back to how they used to be. Because it's almost as if, and it is, that self-sabotage pattern is a familiar. So it's been created over time for you to keep self-sabotaging, but not always lost. So keep sticking around. So I want to provide some other examples as well of being addicted to the familiar, because it's not all about work and relationships and stuff. Have you ever noticed that you do the same thing all the time when you come in from work or whatever you do? It's almost like you're on a loop, on a hamster wheel, innit? So you'll come in, you'll reach for the junk food or order a takeaway, watch a bit of Netflix, do a bit of WhatsApping, a bit of Facebooking, a bit of social media and gossip, flicking, endless doom scrolling, and then go to bed and then rinse and repeat the next day. You go to work, you're in a rush because you've stayed up late being on your phone, you're in a rush, go to work feeling drained, come back, do the same thing over and over again. Because you ever thought that you might be addicted to the familiar? And this is why we do it. So here's some signs that you might be addicted to the familiar. You ever notice when you do certain things, it feels comfortable? Like when you ordering junk food or a takeaway, it feels comfortable. It provides that sense of relief and the sense of familiar. After work or after your tea, you want a pudding or you reach for your biscuit tin. Because you're addicted to the familiar. Or you try hardest, tonight I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to get on the computer, I'm going to work on my goals, I'm going to create this, I'm going to create that. But then before you know it, you have that little voice in your head. You don't normally do this, do you? You know, you're feeling a bit drained today. It gets you in that comfortable little blanket, doesn't it? Why don't you go watch a bit of TV? Why don't you go watch a bit of Netflix? Why don't you go binge watch some programs, or even watch some programs that you've already seen a million times? Because it's familiar. And then you can sit there, you could have told yourself, I'm not going to doom scroll today. I'm not going to go on Facebook today. And before you know it, you're on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, doing the same thing. Doing the same thing what you told yourself you wouldn't do today. Because it's the familiar and it's comfortable. We don't like the uncomfortableness of things. This is comfortable. It's warm and cozy inside that little comfortable blanket, innit? Oh, have you ever found yourself starting a new job and then, in the end you end up liking it, but at first you're like, oh, I hate it, I don't like it here, it's stressing me out, and then I wish I was at my old job. Why? Why do you wish you was at your old job? Because it was the known, it was safe, it was familiar. This is the unknown. You don't like it. You're not used to the unfamiliar and the unknown, and this is why you want to revert back to your old job. Like you ever, people also say as well, I try to do this, but then I procrastinate and end up doing everything but the task I'm meant to do. But that's just a story you tell yourself, right? And it's because, again, right, doing the task is outside your comfort zone. So you procrastinate and go back to doing familiar tasks because that's what you've known, that's what you've created as a habit in the mind. Over time, creating the neural pathways. So you're not used to doing this task, working on the 2.0 version of yourself or getting this assignment done as well, because that's the unfamiliar. So you do everything but that. So you're not a procrastinator. That's just a story you tell yourself, and that's because you are addicted to the familiar. So, do any of you think that you're addicted to the familiar? Are you addicted to any habits or thought patterns or things that you do that are no longer serving you? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. I'll go first. One of mine, and it took me years to get rid of, right? But this year and last year, I really focused on trying to change and rewire my thought around it. And do you know what it was? Sugary, snacky foods when I was tired or didn't have enough sleep or I felt a bit down. All the time, I'm feeling a bit tired, I'll order a takeaway, or I'm just feeling a bit emotional, so I'll reach for the biscuit tin and the sugar gives you that quick fix, that quick taste of crap, what's no good for you, and then you'll get that, I feel dreadful now. It's literally like, because you get the spike, don't you, the sugar spike, your insulin spike, and then literally you're like that, I feel dreadful. Watching TV, you might fall asleep. So there you've done two familiars there, haven't you? You're watching crappy TV and you're eating your sugary snacks and you fell asleep. And then before you know it, shit, I wasn't meant to fall asleep. What fucking hell, what have I done? Pardon my French. And then you go to bed and then you can't sleep. And then you'll finally fall asleep, maybe you've had 3 or 4 hours, and you'll wake up all emotionally stressed and tired again. And then what do? You go back on the loop of the familiar and you go, when you finish work and stuff, I can't be bothered to cook, I'm too tired, I'm going to order a takeaway, and then you have your sugary treats as well, maybe a bit of booze, and then you've done the exact same thing again. So let me know in the comments, peeps, anyway. Let me know in the comments what your familiar is, what's no longer serving you, what is your bad habit. So now we're going to go into, right, how to break free from this vicious cycle, this vicious familiar. Remember that little box what I showed you earlier on? Well, now let's find out what's in that box. And that wasn't me farting, by the way, that's a cheer again. Oh, where's the box? Oh, what's in it? Oh, what's in it? This is halting your progress in life. This is what's keeping you stuck in life and from moving on. What can it be? Oh my God. You want to see what's halting your progress and keeping you stuck in life? Oh my God. It's you. That's right, it's you. It's been you all along. You in your little comfort box. You in your the familiar box. This is what's holding you back. You've been stuck in this comfort box, in this familiarity box, because this is you addicted to the familiar. So, now I'm going to teach you how to break out of your lovely, warm, cozy, familiar comfort box. So let's go. So the first step is recognizing why these familiar things, why you're addicted to the familiar and why these became sort of like comfortable in the first place. think about it. Why did these familiar things that you're addicted to become comfortable in the first place? Was you masking some sort of trauma or some sort of breakup? Or was it just because simply you've repeated them time and time and time again, and repetition is the key, and if you keep repeating something, it then becomes a habit, whether good or bad. So if you can do it for things like binge watching Netflix or eating junk food and sugary foods constantly, and just laying on the couch all the time after work and doing whatever, then if you've made them familiar and you're addicted to that familiar, then you can make other things familiar, right? So you've got to get used to doing things what is uncomfortable and unfamiliar. Now I know you may be saying, I don't want to be doing things that are uncomfortable and unfamiliar. But ask yourself, all these things what you do now, what are familiar and you're addicted to them, you wasn't familiar with them at first. You know, sit there binge watching TV, or sit there, you know, just drinking alcohol and eating junk food and stuff like that. It's because you've practiced doing that over and over and over and over again, or staying up late, and it's become the norm. So if you can just be aware of them patterns, and start by being aware of them patterns, but then start getting uncomfortable with things. Practice getting uncomfortable with things, because being uncomfortable is where you're going to grow, and over time you will get comfortable in these positions. So with consistency is one of the key things here, because they're going to help create the new patterns of behaviour, and they're going to make the uncomfortable start to feel comfortable, and they're going to make the addicted to the familiar be addicted to familiar things what are better for you, and help you get to that 2.0 version of yourself, rather than the rubbish what's no longer serving you now. So just be aware and recognise the patterns, and just take small steps towards your goals. If you're starting to include small positive changes, that's going to help build confidence. Just by disrupting these cycles, you don't have to change everything all at once, but just by disrupting these cycles, right, is really going to help you to start getting out of that familiar comfort box and start making the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable stuff, what will actually really serve you, familiar. And then you can jump in the box and be familiar and cozy with that, can't you? Because at least you know it's serving you. Yeah, you can be addicted to familiar that is good, but unfortunately society has conditioned us to be addicted to the things that don't serve us in the slightest little bit. All your bad habits are stored within your subconscious mind, and they're all of them have got in there through repetition. Like, have you ever been driving a car and all of a sudden miles and miles and miles have passed, and you think, how the hell did I even get here? I can't even remember it. And that's because your subconscious mind has done the driving on autopilot, and you're somewhere else. So lastly as well, I want you to look at, what story are you telling yourself all the time? What stories are you telling yourself around why you're addicted to these familiar things and these comfortable things? Because you, again, going back to the subconscious mind, right, the job here is to imprint better stories within the mind. So then over time and with consistency, they become a habit. Are you aware of your thoughts? Are you aware of your inner stories? Are you aware of why you're reaching out to these familiar bad habits all the time? This comfort box. Listen to yourself, recognise your thoughts. And I tell you what is good, becoming aware of your thoughts, learning how to observe your thoughts. And by the way, if you're interested in learning more about observing your thoughts, I've got this video right up here. Check this out. It's either up here, or wherever the frig YouTube will put it, right? But check that out next. I'll see you in there.